welcome to Wisdom Dojo. Today we're going to be reading the story of Allerleirauh. Enjoy! Once upon a time, a king ruled over a large and beautiful country. In the center of the kingdom stood the king's splendid palace where he lived with his queen. The queen's beauty was so remarkable that her golden cascading hair and flawless white skin were known far and wide. Sadly, one day the queen fell ill and died, leaving the king and their little daughter behind. Many years passed, and the little daughter grew up to be a beautiful princess, resembling her late mother in many ways. She was called Allerleirauh. The king thought that he would lose his daughter, just like he lost his queen, so he decided not to get her married. His concern for Allerleirauh was such that he kept her locked in a room and did not permit anyone to meet her. Allerleirauh had no friends and wished to see the world beyond the walls of the palace. So one night, Allerleirauh decided to run away from the palace. Before fleeing, she packed her 3 favorite dresses in the box. A dress as golden as the sun, another as silver as the moon, and the third as bright as the stars. Then she changed her royal clothes and wore a thick fur coat, like those worn by peasants. She blackened her face and hands with soot, so she would look like a peasant girl. Next, she tiptoed to the treasury and took a golden ring, a golden spinning wheel, and a golden reel with her. Then she left the palace in the darkness of the night. Allerleirauh travelled throughout the night and reached a forest by morning. She was tired and hungry with all walking and decided to rest for a while in the hollow of a tree. Now this forest was part of a province of another king. That morning, the king had come to the forest with his huntsmen and dogs, chasing a deer. However, the dogs picked up Allerleirauh's scent and took the king and his huntsmen to the place where Allerleirauh was resting. The king saw his dogs barking in the direction of the tree, and said to one of his huntsmen, "Go and find out what monster hides behind that tree." The huntsman found Allerleirauh there, and dragged her before the king. He looked at her and said, "You seem like a peasant from the neighboring kingdom, but you can work in our kitchen." Thus, the king took Allerleirauh to his palace and gave her a little room to sleep in by the kitchen. Allerleirauh spent her days scrubbing the kitchen floor and cleaning huge vessels. One day, the king had a ball. All the duchesses and princesses from the neighboring kingdoms were invited. The king was to choose the prettiest maiden at the ball to become his son's queen. Late at night, when the ball was at its magnificent best, Allerleirauh said to the cook in the kitchen, "Please, can I go and take a peek at the ball? I promise I will stay behind the door and not venture a step ahead." The cook permitted Allerleirauh to take a peek, but asked her to be back in half an hour. It was a small chance for Allerleirauh to bring some joy back into her life. So she went to her closet, wore her dress as golden as the sun, and removed her cap and let her golden hair cascade onto her back. She also washed the soot off her face and hands and then entered the ballroom. Everyone present looked at her. While some people gave her jealous glances, others could not help but admire her beauty. The prince was instantly smitten by Allerleirauh's beauty and asked her to dance with him. They danced for half an hour, while everyone looked at them with admiration. After that, Allerleirauh took her leave and ran to her closet. She changed into her rags, blackened her hands and face with soot, and ran back into the kitchen. The cook looked at Allerleirauh and said, "I hope you enjoyed looking at the ball. Now quickly make some hot soup for the prince. He will have it after the ball is over." Allerleirauh smiled and got down to boiling soup for the prince. Meanwhile, the prince was left in despair, for he could not find the beautiful maiden anywhere. He asked his father's guards, but none had seen a maiden with golden hair walk in or out of the palace. Heartbroken, he retired to his chamber and ordered for his soup. The cook warned Allerleirauh that she should be very careful with the soup, and not even a strand of her hair should fall in the bowl, or else the prince would be very angry. Allerleirauh nodded and took the soup to the prince's chamber. On the way, she quietly took the golden ring she had taken from the treasury of her father's palace and dropped it in the soup bowl. The king relished the soup. However, he was astonished to find the golden ring at the bottom of the bowl. He called in the cook and Allerleirauh, but could not learn anything from them. Soon after, the king held another ball and invited all the duchesses and princesses once again. Once again, Allerleirauh took permission from the cook and attended the ball wearing her silver dress. She danced for half an hour with the king and went back into the kitchen. That night, when the king called for his soup, Allerleirauh dropped the golden spindle in the bowl. Once again, the king was astonished to find it. The king realized that every time he met the girl with the golden hair at the ball, he found a golden item in his soup bowl. So this time he decided to throw a ball, but also hatched a plan to find the girl with the golden hair. Allerleirauh attended the ball, wearing a dress as bright as the stars. This time, the king slipped a golden ring onto her finger while dancing. Allerleirauh was having so much fun that she did not realize it at all. After half an hour, when she decided to leave, the king held on to her tightly. After a few moments of struggling, though, Allerleirauh freed herself and ran down to the kitchen. She knew that the cook would be very angry if she was late, and in that hurry, Allerleirauh forgot to apply soot on her fingers. That night, when she went to the prince's chamber to give him soup, he saw the ring that he had slipped onto her finger during the ball, and immediately caught her. He held her fair rosy fingers in his hands and looked into her eyes. He then got up from his bed and pulled Allerleirauh's cap from her head, and her long hair came rolling down like a golden cascade. When Allerleirauh washed the soot off her face, she looked prettier than ever. The prince proposed to her, and soon they were married and lived happily ever after. Well, that's certainly an interesting story. If you enjoyed it, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you want to see more videos like this, click on the notification bell. Bye, and see you next video.